Let me do the standing stuff.
Yep. Hello, one and all, to another Zoom Racing League. Another Zoom Racing League action. I mean, we have Division Two right now. It's currently intermediate conditions. Some of these drives are out now. We have Lights, who's the first driver to pass the checkered line, so he's starting his lap. But yeah, I mean, intermediate conditions, D2. I mean, what an interesting D3 race, Nathan. Right?
Yeah, interesting D3 race even without the rain, and rain is known for adding more interest to the race, and hopefully we see more of that. I know that Division 2 in the rain is kind of where it does the best here because we had races in last season such as Hungary where it was kind of wet to dry conditions, and that was just an absolute great race. You saw Nathan Doan himself on the podium, and yeah, hopefully we can just see many great results from maybe some underdog drivers here because intermediate conditioning quality that can really spice it up.
Yeah, I mean, at least spice it up, it can do. I mean, I'm gonna see people like blue collar James. We're gonna see people like maybe X Max, a new driver in D2. These guys kind of show up their pace. I mean, we know the fastest guys, Lights, Dougie, uh, Garrett. You know, these really fast drivers. Also Marcel and Sid. But like, maybe you can see like some of these guys make their way up to the field. I mean, even we had a surprise win in France. I don't know if that was Eric or an Alfa Romeo driver. I think it was Victor Diaz, if I'm not wrong. But I mean, anything
It
can happen.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah, so many things can happen in just wet conditions or just Division 2 in general. I mean, new drivers especially as well, we want to see them do well in their kind of debut to the league. Because I think even if it's like subconscious kind of, you generally root for the underdog more than you root for the main winner. Like every time, like Max Verstappen, for example, you're kind of just waiting for someone to beat them, right? And so
yeah,
hopefully we can see that.
yeah. Hopefully we do see that this season of actual real F1. But let's also hope we see a good fight between our two champions, Lights and Dougie Falcons, for the championship contenders. So we'll definitely see what they can do on this race. They're currently still fighting. Maybe we can talk about the standings real quick.
Yes, so Lights is trailing Ducky Falcons for the lead of the championship by 24 points after a poor result in round 8, which was Great Britain. Ducky Falcons, of course, went on to win that race, but after them, it's not really a big fight for second anymore. It's kind of going into the battle for third, fourth, fifth. You know what it is. So Magnuson Cube is trailing. Colin Edwards is in P3 right now by 3 points only, and that is 147 points for Colin Edwards, and then 144 for Magnuson Cube. We'll move on to the constructor standings now. Red Bull have quite a nice lead, but don't get too comfortable because Ferrari are 14 points behind. Then 14 points behind Ferrari is Alpine. Alpine have had a really great showing. They've kind of been on an upward trajectory since season 4, maybe even. So yeah, hopefully they can do well. And of course, your team is 10 points behind Alpine themselves, and they are P4 in the championship.
Yeah, and I mean, Mercedes is having a rough time. Try had to miss a lot of races. Lights has been currently carrying the constructors so far, but yeah, I mean, I count on Try and Lights. They're both very well drivers, so hopefully we can see them show up this race. I mean, it's a nice, fun track. It's nice and simple, so a lot of overtakes can happen as we see the Ferrari driver Marcel box. I don't know if these conditions are going to change, but we should definitely ask the chat if these conditions are going to be changing. Nathan, can you do that for us?
Yeah, but I think I can just make an observation now. I think the conditions are changing because the track doesn't look that wet, at least on my screen. I mean, of course, it's still in intermediate conditions, but give it 4 or 5 laps for a bunch of drivers, and it'll easily be back into dry conditions because
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's any falling rain at the moment.
No, there's no, and the clouds are parting. I mean, the Red Sea's opening right now, and these drivers are gonna have to get on the soft tires and start making good laps.
Yeah, so I'm checking the chat now. I don't see anything on the um on the forecast. It does look like we have a missing driver as Mr. Baby. Um, I can look in my Steam, but he's not added me, so he will not join the race as so far. But yeah, it looks like drivers are actually moving on to the soft tires now. Though that answers your question. It looks like it could be a little bit slippery for the slicker runners, but at the moment, I think that will change maybe around the 8-minute mark of this qualifying session.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of these intermediate drivers are still out inside the laps. The track is still damp. These conditions still could favor the intermediates as they are ultra slick tires, basically. So we'll see a nice transition period in the next about 3 to 2 minutes where this track really dries up and starts to get gripped up.
I mean, all the talk we had about a wet race in Division 2 is kind of just going away from us now. But talking about the racing across all divisions this weekend, we have a sprint weekend as it follows the real F1 calendar. At least in this way, Austria has a sprint race, and that will be 12 extra laps of racing, no pit stops, fast as you can. And that will affect your grid position for the main race.
Yeah, and also this track looks pretty dry to me. I mean, Marcel really getting on the power out of turn 5 or turn 5, I believe. Yep, getting really aggressive on the power. So I think this is soft tire conditions. Yeah, definitely this is soft tire conditions.
I mean, yeah, I don't think the times will be at the same as we've seen before because obviously the track is a bit colder than it would be normally on a sunny day. But for at least the pole time, I'm expecting maybe a 1:04.3 around that, if not faster, because I know we have a lot of fast drivers. Some revolve around qualifying itself. And this is kind of where they will struggle because, of course, it's qualifying, but it's racing that determines your grid position mainly, except instead of qualifying. So 110 flat exactly by Celis Reptas. Not really a fast time, but impressive to make that mark. As DRS is enabled, so Marcel Pabst will be able to use it on his lap here, at least on the second straight. He will not have had that advantage for the second straight from turns 1 to turn 3. But going into turn 4 now, braking very late, about 70 meters, getting on the power early. Looks like maybe a bit of moment, but that could just be on my end. Going into left-hander, 50 meters braking, 6th gear on the exit, get on the power early, very good. Into 5th again, get on the power 6th gear, and he might go off track, but he doesn't. He sticks it right on the track limits. Going into this right-hander, very fast, 160 miles an hour. What can he take it at? A bit lower actually. And the final turn, turn 10, is the power down right to the line. What will the time be? It will be a 1:06.580.
Yeah, and I mean, for missing a DRS straight, which only cost him 2 tenths, that lap wasn't too hot, but it was a good bank, and I mean, it's a good idea of how the track's shaping right now, as Magnussen keeps it to 105.9. I mean, this track is still evolving and at a really quick rate.
Yeah, I mean, Austria is a track that is known for its track evolution and how important it is normally. But especially when it goes from kind of cold to sunny conditions, then it is definitely way more of a factor than it would normally be. As we have a reserve driver, I believe, in Pascal. He's just barely made it past Marcel Paps, but he has got into P2 with a lap time 7 milliseconds faster than Marcel Pabst.
Yeah, and I mean, Sid kind of sitting in the back end right now. No one just is really deciding to come out on the soft tires. Very weird. I expect everyone to be rushing out right now and trying to be setting laps, but some of these guys are just deciding to sit in the pits. Oh, nope, there's everyone. Everyone's coming out now. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
So yeah, kind of the time for a full cycle, which is your out lap, your hot lap, and then an in lap, takes about maybe 4 minutes, with the pit animations taking a bit longer than it did last game. But yeah, 4 minutes is all you really need to get a good thing started. And of course, your last run, you don't have an in lap, so you can go out probably around the 2-minute mark for your final lap here, as Ryan Newton goes fastest with a 1:08.48, and I believe that is just barely slower than the Division 3 pole time here.
Yeah, Division 3 pole time was a 1:04.7 set by Syra. And I think you said a 1:04.8 yourself, so I mean, a great time nonetheless. But pole for D2, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be about maybe a 4.5, 4.4. I don't see D2 getting any lower than that, as people are setting laps that are really comparable to Ryan Newton's. And I mean, let's talk about Ryan Newton and Williams. I mean, what a comeback they're having this season. I mean, Garrett and Ryan have been putting in the work. I mean, they really have. I mean, they've won races. They've gotten really good finishing orders. I think they're one of the strongest, definitely one of the top 3 pairings, next to Ferrari and even Mercedes.
Yeah, I mean, compared to season 5, where it was kind of iffy, Ryan Newton really didn't take the last races too seriously, but now he's on it. He's on a whole new level of pace, and he's someone that I fought for a championship, and now I don't think I could even try and fight him for a championship now. But yeah, Ryan Newton, a qualifying driver, at least I think, very quick in time trial, has set the fastest time, and his teammate, his team principal, is in P4, only 1 second behind him actually, so a bit of a gap, but I believe that's due to track evolution in itself. We have lights on a lap here, going down into turn 9 and about to hit turn 10 as well. Very easy to invalidate the lap here. He does not, though. He sticks it right on the track limits, cutting the corner just a little bit, hitting that sausage curb on the inside, going down to the line now. It's good for P2, 105, 192, so that is almost 4 tenths slower than Ryan Newton's time.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that just shows you the grip difference on control of his the wheel. I mean, you can really just have a. I mean, coming from someone who's been on controller, there's a big difference in feeling of grip going to wheel. You do definitely lose something there. Ryan's definitely going to be benefiting from that, but not going to be benefiting as much more as Dougie Falcon sits in 104.6. Impressive time from the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, I mean, great lap from the Red Bull driver, but I have to focus on the two Alpines, 3 and 4 so far, and the third in the championship. So this is a good result in qualifying so far to propel themselves even further in the championship.
It definitely, and Colin has been showing up. I mean, he's not in the championship fight, but he's right sitting right behind Dougie and Lights, and he's watching, you know, and he's getting better. I know I've seen Colin been practicing and been putting the time more than any other driver, I believe. And to be honest, I think that he's becoming a stronger driver later on in the season. Maybe not in qualifying, but definitely in the race. So maybe we can see some wins from Colin later on in the season.
Yes, and as we saw in the Division 3, maybe race pace doesn't even matter here. I mean, of course, it's a very fundamental thing, but there's so much, I don't know how to really word it here, but with so much stuff going around on the track, a lot of action can happen, and honestly, one of the best strategies here is just to avoid that, keep a clean race, try not to get time penalties, as they are pretty easy to get here, but if you just keep it smooth and steady, then you might even be in for a podium here, because that's what I did in Hungary last season. I'm going back to it once again. But yeah, just stay very safe and that will pay off and eventually.
Yeah, definitely. As only 3 drivers so far have dipped into the 104.6s. We're still in about D3 pole area, maybe a 10 faster because of Dougie. But yeah, I mean, some of these drivers are setting times that D3 drivers set, so maybe D3 was really competitive this week.
Yeah, and a driver I think we should focus on is Magnussen Cube himself, the Petroleum Gaming, some call him. And I've known that he's been very fast. You know, he's been spreading word around the Ferrari paddock that he is very good at this track. And I believe it, honestly. He's been a great driver so far, 4th in the championship, better than Eruption. We thought Eruption would be kind of near the top here, but his teammate has taken it away from him. He's 8 tenths down on his previous, time, up on his time, I should say. That'll be good for maybe P7, but I think it's all to gain in this final sector here. What kind of lap time can he put through? Going very fast to the penultimate corner, into the ultimate corner now. 6th gear, very early on the power. Coming down to the line now. What will it be? It will be a 105.0. Good for P5.
Oh, I'm on Marcel. Jesus. I thought I was like, wait, no, he boxed. But yeah, great time from Magnussen Cube. So far we have a Alpine 3.4 and a Ferrari 5.6. I mean, interesting, right?
Yeah, maybe we'd see a Red Bull 1-2 for a change, but Ethan Patel is not here, so
Ethan
a bit unlucky.
second.
What was that?
I said Ethan Patel can't qualify second either, so that's not gonna happen.
Well, I at least wanted to say it to maybe boost Red Bull's spirits, but I guess if we're being honest here, at least Ethan's a cool guy. But anyways, we don't really have too many drivers out on a lap here. We have some on their out lap, but other than that, drivers like Blue Collar Jesus Scared Elder himself have aborted their laps, not because they've invalidated, but I think they're just trying to save the battery and wait for the final lap closest to the end of the session so that you can really get an advantage with track evolution here. And look how sunny the track is now compared to what we saw earlier in the session. It was very dark and gloomy, even raining, so good to see the track evolving here and the weather. The sun has come out to shine today.
Yeah, it definitely has come up to shine, and shining on Dougie Falcons it is. As I mean, setting a really commanding lead. I mean, I was expecting like maybe 8, 9 drivers to be in the 104s, but it's taken me by surprise to see only 3 drivers have reached that kind of limit so far.
Well, I don't think we're quite done yet, as we do have fast drivers such as Lights on a lap here. He's just starting his lap actually, going into turn 1, braking very late. Takes apex very nicely down into this first straight, put on DRS. Then he's going to be flying towards the sector 1 check mark here. What kind of point will he set? What kind of time will it be for the first sector? It is one that is 100th faster, and that won't really get him anywhere. So he knows that he has to really get a good time in the sector 2 and sector 3. I mean, he's a fast driver. I think that he's P2 in the championship.
Yeah,
Like,
and I mean
we
also,
expect more from him.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, we definitely expect more from him, but also Steelers Rap has just invalidated his lap. Not going to be able to improve on this one. Colin Edwards only at 10th up, I believe, on his first sector, but definitely struggling with grip out the exit of 2 and 3, so he's going to definitely have to improve. I mean, Marcel Nelson's Eruption doing good so far. A little bit down on his first sector, coming into turn 3, a little bit late and a little bit too aggressive on the throttle. He's definitely not going to be improving his time after that kind of corner. Aston Martin of Alvarez. A little bit too... a little bit too not aggressive on that corner. Hopefully he can improve also. I mean, I think Lights and Shry have finished their lap, so P10 and 11 for the Mercedes drivers. Very out of characteristic. As Colin Edwards says, P1, the helping driver.
But here comes Dougie Falcon through the final corner. What will the time be? It has to be better than a 104.575 to the line now. What will it be for Dougie Falcon? It will be fast enough by 100th of a second for provisional pole. Unless Eric McNerney can do something about it, I don't think he will. That is easily a pole position again for the championship leader in Dougie Falcons. As Blue Collar Jesus comes into the pits, Alex Duarte, no offense, I don't think he will be challenging for a pole position, but Dougie Falcons is on pole position for this race, and his championship contender is only 10th. So hopefully in the sprint race, very crucial for Lights' race so far, it will have to be a good race from Lights in the sprint race to get back to the championship contender.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what a lap from Ryan and Dougie. And I mean, what a lap from Colin as well. I mean, these are great times. These are times I was expecting to see. And I can't wait to see what they do in the race. I mean, Ryan's not really known for his race pace. Blue Collar Jesus with a very weird low qualifying time. He's really known to set really good laps. I mean, he did that in Monaco and he did that in France. So very weird to see him so far down. But yeah, your drivers are Dougie Falcons, Ryan Newton, Colin Edwards. P4 was Marcel, I believe.
Yes, I think it was one of the Ferraris. Yes,
Yep,
it was
and
Marcel.
a surprise
And
P5 from Eric McNerney himself. I mean, knowing Eric, he might burn through his battery before turn 3, but definitely will hopefully see some good things from the McLaren driver, who has outqualified his team principal, Sid.
well, you said it, not me. Burning near us before lap 1. I mean, it might be a good strategy here, actually, because I mean, it's Austria. DRS and ERS are very crucial to making overtakes here, and from P5, I think he's in a good position for maybe even a podium in the sprint race. But of course, lots of things can happen into turn 1. We saw the melee that happened in Division 4, many drivers spinning around. Hopefully, that's not the case because we do want to see clean racing here. And so, we will wait here as the lobby starts once again going into the sprint race in Austria. As I said before, anyways, so we are here for the sprint weekend here, and hopefully on this Saturday we will have a great race on our hands. 25 seconds until the race counts down. I believe that our broadcaster will not be able to switch the camera, so I'll just go off what I can, bring you all the information that I can. I'm happy to do it. 10 seconds until the lights are out. Hopefully a good launch for everyone on the grid. We don't want to see anyone getting major wheel spin out of their grid spot because they will spin. If that happens, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and the race is going to start right now. The Rolex clock has ticked down to 0, and the lights are on. And we're ready to go down into turn 1 as the lights are out, and away we go. No one goes out actually, and now they go out. Here comes Ryan Newton. He's got a terrible start on the Red Bull as Dougie Falcons goes into the lead of the race, as he should. And the Alpine goes down the inside of Eric McNerney. The other Alpine, Colin Edwards, has lost position as the other Alpine spins. Both the Alpines have spun around in the first corner. Much side-by-side action here, such as Itchrai and Magnuson Cube going into turn 3 side by side. Will it be an overtake for Itchrai down the inside? It looks like it will be clean. They make a bit of contact, and there's more going on here. 3 wide into turn 3 here. It looks like that was a McLaren and maybe an Alfa Romeo fighting, but it looks like they've all got it sorted now. The Magnuson Cube is still trying to challenge around the outside of Itchrai. Itchrai does get that position, and it does not count for Magnuson Cube, as it looks like Sid is trying to fight with Beamer NG here. Does he go around the outside in this fast corner? He tries to, but it just goes a bit too wide in doing so. He'll have a better run through these next corners, but it won't be enough, as there's not really an overtaking spot here in the final sector. Ryan Newton follows Dougie Falcons really closely for the lead of the race. Right behind is kind of just a DRS train all the way down to Beamer and G in 11th place. So it looks like Ryan Newton is actually going fast enough to maybe even challenge Dougie Falcons into turn 3 here. They take turn 1 very quickly. It looks like Ryan Newton is on the battery. He's ready to make this overtake, dumping the battery as much as he can. Will he go for an overtake? Dougie Falcons defends it inside line. Ryan Newton just thinks better of it, as Colin Edwards has retired from the session in the pits, I believe. And it looks like Ryan Newton is actually making a bit of contact from Dougie Falcons, and they will go down into turn 4, not side by side, but very close indeed. Marcel Paps is just waiting for this fight to intensify so he can maybe pick up the scraps. It looks like Lights is making an overtake on Combined YouTuber, and he does. Looks like a bit more side-by-side action in the back. It looks like Combined YouTuber might even challenge Lights back again. As he does, they make a little bit of contact, but that might just be desync on our end. As so far, it's 1-by-1 action, as it should be through these very fast corners here. Dougie Falcon still leads, and Ryan Newton follows closely behind. Marcel Paps is a bit closer to Ryan Newton than Ryan Newton is to Dougie Falcons. But in this DRS train, it doesn't really mean much. DRS is enabled. Fastest lap goes to Dougie Falcon so far, and then it goes to Itchrai. Alright, here we go. Into turn 3. Ryan Newton, best chance of overtaking in this race so far. Does not go on the battery, so he will not try it. And that looks like an Aston Martin around. That is CR Alvarez. Not what you want to see if you're Joel Guron, but that is alright, because now Ryan Newton is looking to pick up the position, maybe for the lead, but the exit that Dougie Falcons has got. And very, very good exit from Dougie Falcons that will preserve his lead once again. No really side-by-side action through here, as the whole grid is basically in one big DRS train. Yes, they are actually. It's like F1 esports almost. Will anyone be challenging for an overtake? It looks like we do have one in the back with the Williams of Blue Collar Jesus on Pascal. He made that move happen very, very nicely. Still through these fast left-handers, 5th gear, 6th gear, whatever you want to take it in. You're going fast, and you don't want to spin there because the sausage curbs on the exit can really mess you up and send you into a wall even. So hopefully that won't happen to any of our drivers this weekend, as the order still remains the same. A track where overtaking is very, very prevalent here, but not yet. So maybe we're just waiting for this race in action to get to a real big boiling point here. And hopefully that will be the case, because Ryan Newton, you know, he's a fast driver. Is he as fast as Dougie Falcons? Maybe not, but he's in a very good position to take some points out of Dougie Falcons. And Lights is in P7 now from P11, I believe it was, P10 maybe. He's doing very, very great so far to make up positions in the sprint race. And that's exactly what we have the sprint race for, so good job taking advantage of the sprint race from Lights. No overtakes happening into turn 4. Looks like everyone is getting through just very safely. Battery, it looks like battery for everyone is still around that 40 to maybe 20% mark for everyone. In this sprint race, you kind of just want to burn your battery as much as you need to. You don't really want to overshoot it like one said Eric McNerney is doing right now. And we said that Eric McNerney might be doing that before the race even started. And look at that, we were right. So Ryan Newton and Marcel Paps are putting on the battery just a little bit to close up to the driver ahead. It looks like Ryan Newton will not be in a good spot to overtake Dougie Falcons. I believe Luke Lockier's back with us as Marcel Paps spin.
Unfortunate from the Ferrari driver, who's having such a good run. All the way down to P16, P17. might get even overtaken by the Aston Martin. Went from P3 to P last. Very unfortunate for the Ferrari driver. He was doing so well. Sad to see him drop down so low. I mean, so far, what an interesting race. I mean, Mercedes drivers have made big gains so far. Eric McNerney, surprise in the podium? I mean, an incredible race from him so far. I mean, I'm super surprised and like, this is great. I mean, I would love to see what he can do in these next couple of laps. He has been through his battery, so hopefully he can make his way into saving some of it. Nope, he just uses more. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, Marcel Paps is around again. Sorry to interrupt. Sierra Alvarez did go right into the back of Marcel Paps and spun him around. Marcel is in the gravel. He's joined back the track now and from third to last in a very, very short amount of time. And he's so far back from the rest of the pack. And that's just not what you want to see as a Ferrari driver. I mean, he's been a very quick driver all season, but he's gotten into so many unlucky incidents that, just like this, that's put him in a very bad position for this championship. We once thought that he could win.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting position he put himself in, but not only that, let's just talk about the grid right now. We have Ryan Newton and Dougie Falcons in their own little train. Eric McNerney's in a lone town, really by himself. Not a bad spot to be in when you're fighting for a top three. Try, Magnussen, and Lights in their own little train, carrying the rest of the grid up to P12. And yeah, I mean, what an interesting race so far. I mean, combining YouTube with a great showing. I mean, P7 from the Haas driver. I mean, no one really expected much of him in D2, but he's bringing it to the guys in front. I mean, Lights right now currently slowly inching his way towards Magnussen Cube. Magnussen Cube slowly making his way towards Try. I mean, Try's definitely going to start using a lot of his battery to start closing up to Eric McNerney ahead, or else he's going to be in a sitting duck position.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that Magnussen Cube could know that this Try is really burning his battery, and that's something that you kind of need to know, because if you're Magnussen Cube, you want to be saving your battery if the other driver is burning it, and that's a McLaren of sit around. Well, one McLaren prospers, the other falls down the order, and down into P17, joining the likes of Marcel Paps and Ryan Newton. Still not in a great position to make a lead, make an overtake for leads. What a moment that was for me. Going back to the race now, I had a controller disconnect, and it looks like we just have normal racing action once again through everyone. As you said, many little DRS trains carrying the entire field, but I know Ryan Newton is a fast driver, and I know that he's one that makes overtakes as Fisticle spins around in turn 4. But he's one that wants to make overtakes, and so far he's not been doing it, so a bit out of character for the Williams driver.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Try is now in the DRS of the McLaren driver of Eric McNerney, so this is a big saving grace for him. He needs this right now to have a better chance at defending against Magnussen Cube, who has went through majority of his battery. He's at 6% right now. Let me check. This Try doesn't have a really good exit there. Struggled a little bit. Has that 30%. So I think all these guys are really busting their battery to try to make a move, but they're all in a train and nothing's really going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, from P3 to P7, P11 actually, everyone's ERS battery is blinking right now. The light on the back of the cars blinks when the battery goes under 10%, and look how many blinking lights there is. So yeah, definitely pushing their battery, but not really to much gain here, because everyone is still stuck behind everyone else. And yeah, when Try got in the DRS of Eric McNerney, that's kind of the nail in the coffin for Magnussen Cube, honestly. Unless he can get it through the corners, then he really doesn't have a shot at overtaking here. I believe there's some fighting in the back with Alex Duarte, but go ahead.
Yeah, like you were saying, there's some fighting between Alex Duarte and Steele Travis was on. Steele was for a bit just now, and Alex made an excellent defense, keeping Steelius behind. But I mean, what an unfortunate race for the Alpine drivers, who were looking so good. Pretty sure Jason was really happy to see this happen, but definitely a very unfortunate thing for both of them to get caught up in incidents. Hopefully they make a recovery during the race.
I mean, for both of your drivers to spin in the first corner, that's not what you want to see. It looks like Mateo's making a move on combined YouTuber into turn 3. Does he try and steal the DRS? He does, and he does so successfully. Combined YouTuber tries to take it around the outside, goes onto the curbs just a little bit. Looks like combined YouTuber did have DRS anyway, but look at that straight line difference from Mateo, and Mateo is ahead of combined YouTuber now. Looks like Beamer and G is looking for a move on Mateo now, as combined YouTuber sends it back down the inside of Mateo. And it looks like he won't be able to make the overtake happen, and the order will remain the same unless one of these drivers makes a mistake, and combined YouTuber made a little bit of mistake there, so his teammate, his team principal, is looking to maybe make an overtake here. Stays back, knows better of it, and maybe even Christmas or X-Mac as he's called will try and get in on this fight as Marcel Pap spins around again into last again. He goes, and the field is spread out now a little bit with all that fighting. Mateo has broken the DRS train from P2 to wherever it was, honestly, but it looks like that the two Haas's might be fighting now, or maybe they'll try to bring each other along, like we saw in the sprint race at Austria in real life. So hopefully that's the case. Hopefully that the other Haas ahead will give the DRS advantage to the car behind, so they don't lose any positions. But it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely it is what it is. But I mean, what an excellent race for Haas right now. They're sitting P8 and P9, which is not a bad spot. I mean, definitely for Haas in general, they haven't been not finishing that high, and to have both drivers in the top 10 so early on into the so early and late into the sprint. I mean, an excellent race for them so far.
Yeah, currently Haas are 7th in the championship. This will only gain them 1 point if the order remains the same. But hey, I mean, 1 point could mean the difference between a championship win and a championship loss. Not for Haas, of course, but 8 and 9 is very good starting positions for the feature race. So good job from Haas so far. We are coming to the final lap now. No, actually, final lap is next lap. And still, Ryan Newton really isn't trying to do anything with it.
I think
Dick
Ryan
McNerney.
I think
Ryan
Newton's just trying to play it safe, keep it nice and clean. I don't think he's going to try to make any big moves on Dougie. I think he's just really satisfied with P2, and sometimes that's fine. Sometimes you don't really need to fight and risk positions. I mean, they're both controller players, so they can't really have that, close, intense fighting and that safety due to the lack of precision. But they definitely feel comfortable in their positions.
Well, I sure hope so. 1 and 2 is a great position to be just for anything in general. And so it makes sense for Ryan Newton to stay behind, but I would like to see some racing action. But I'm seeing some racing action right now between Sid, Sierra Alvarez, Alex Duarte, and Celios Repas. It looks like Sid tried to make a move down the inside, but just wasn't close enough.
Was that Asaman driving makes a mistake? Sid goes down the inside. Sid hangs around the inside, can't even go any further. Doesn't make it. Alvarez just slowly inching ahead. So Sid's definitely going to have to make a move under DRS if he wants to get past Alvarez.
I mean, with this all fighting, he's kind of breaking up the DRS from Sierra Alvarez to Sid.
Oh, and tries making a move on Eric.
And that looked fairly easy, I must say, for the Mercedes driver. I wonder if Magnussen Cube will follow suit. He's a bit far behind, especially with the other car ahead of him having DRS. No move from Ryan Newton, so I'm pretty sure that just about seals the race win, the sprint win for Dougie Falcons. But hopefully we'll have some more action. Maybe Eric McNerney will pull a surprise overtake as Stelios Repas, I believe that is. No, that's Sierra Alvarez has spun around. I do wonder if there's contact there, but we will never know. As Dougie Falcons is on his way. He's on his way to get the sprint win. 8 points it will be. Going to the fast right-hander now. Ryan Newton following very closely behind him. Blue collar Jesus gets a time penalty. It does not matter to Dougie Falcons whatsoever because Dougie Falcons will win the sprint race in Austria.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wanted to give a big shout out to Eric McNerney. I mean, what an incredible sprint race for him. I mean, if you told me yesterday that Eric McNerney will have a chance at a top 3 position in a sprint race nonetheless, where drivers are pushing at almost 110%, I would laugh at your face, but Eric is the one laughing right now as he's gotten the top 4 in the sprint race, which is a good couple of points for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, I mean, he started P5, now in P4. I wonder if he can gain any more positions off the start, because I know he's quick off the line, he's spending all that battery as he does. But yeah, hopefully we have more clean action to come. And hopefully it's very dry. I think it is a dry race, but you know, if it's not, we have a bit of questionable weather. It'll be very exciting to see.
Yeah, driver of the day going to Shrai. I mean, no surprise there, starting from P10, P9, I believe, and making his way to the top 3. I mean, incredible race from Shrai. He's been very, very unlucky this whole season, so it's good to see him making his way up there. So maybe he can bring the fight to Ryan Newton and Dougie Falcons, who might struggle a bit more under race conditions.
And some things to note before we go into the start of the race here. You may have noticed that the pole position and grid spot is not on the inside line, which would give you the best advantage going into turn 1. actually P2. So if Ryan Newton can get a good start, definitely a one that's better than the one that he got this race. He was a very bad start. He might be able to challenge for the lead of the race into the first corner. But going side by side through this first corner can lead to a lot of melee here, so we don't want to see any of that. But we will find out shortly as we go into the race weekend now.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Ryan Newton and Dougie on control are gonna have incredible starts. So it's whoever gets the best one, and they'll definitely be running away after turn 3, I believe. We're gonna see everyone else have the little quick shuffle as they try to make their way off the start.
Yep, and it looks like the lights will be out very shortly. I think the strategy here is just hard medium. It should be very basic, one stop, of course, unless you're feeling a bit ambitious with a two stop, but it doesn't really make sense on this track at least. The lights we aren't seeing anything right now. It looks like the timer just disappeared, so I guess we can wait on that a bit more. But yeah, like I said, hard medium, medium hard maybe if you're, I mean, actually it doesn't really make sense at all if you go medium hard unless you're just trying to get off the line very quickly. If you start on the mediums, then you'll have a very much heavier car than you would on the later stages of the race, and that will provide more tire wear. So you don't really want that to happen on the medium tires.
Yeah, definitely you don't want that to happen for sure, but we'll definitely see what happens at the beginning of this race as I'm trying to find the link for the stream.
Oh, 7 seconds here.
Right.
I'll give us a little rundown of the start, I guess. As 3, 2, 1, and 0, we go to the grid now, and the lights are coming on now into turn 1. What will we see? 5 lights are on, and the 5 lights are going out right now, and a good start for no one so far, but now the lights are out, and the drivers are getting away. Not a good start for Ryan Newman once again. It tries already alongside Ryan Newman into turn 1 on the outside, 3 wide behind them. It looks like the two Mercedes are kind of falling back here, but Lights is still in 5th position. Alpine going off once again, but does stay straightforward on the track so far. Good racing action from everyone so far. Will Lights challenge Magnussen Cube into turn 3. He will around the outside. He's not entitled to any space, and he won't get any space from Magnussen Cube. Eric Newty cannot get interested in that because he's too far back. Looks like we have a bit of a spin from maybe Fitch Sickwell, maybe a little moment from the AlphaTauri driver. We have a Reno and a Red Bull for some reason. Not really sure why that's happening, but it's happening, so we can't really change it now. It looks like a bit of action coming from Garrett Elter. It looks like he got overtaken by maybe it was Marcel Paps, who's had a great recovery from the back of the pack already into P13. Hopefully no unlucky incidents for him so far, as Garrett Elter is actually getting very close with these corners, and we saw before that he can lose a position. Can Marcel Paps in that corner as down the inside goes combined YouTuber on Eric McNerney through the fast corner. He's still side by side through
They're
the
still
final
side
corner.
by side. These drivers are going neck and neck through turns, the last couple of corners. This is incredible racing from Bima and Eric, but Bima just has that straight line speed advantage as Eric is slowly dropping through the order. Very sad to see this from the McLaren driver, who's done so well so far, but looks like Matteo and the two Haas's are just on a charge through the grid.
Oh, and even more ahead is the Lights and Magnussen Cube. They're fighting now. Can Lights get a good run on Magnussen Cube? He's looking for the outside line here as we have someone spinning in the background. I believe that's an Aston Martin. Yes, it is. Going deep on the brakes around the outside. He's not entitled to any space again, and he does not go for the move, but he gets a nice switchback. He's going to go around the outside into turn 6 here. Will he make it stick? Yes, he will. Magnussen Cube backed out of it. I'm not sure why, but I like to see an overtake from the Mercedes driver. Your two drivers, 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, incredible from them so far. I mean, Garrett Elder just made an overtake on Stelios Rappers. I mean, a terrible race for the Alpines right now. I'm pretty sure the Alpine driver has wing damage, so very unfortunate to see from him. I think not Marcel, but Magnus will give up position. It's not really a side-by-side corner. One of you guys is going to die. It's not an overtaking corner. So good on Magnussen for definitely backing out and taking the safer route, but maybe he has a pace to catch up. Maybe he knows he's confident, All these things do apply to the race. I mean, again, just another big shout out to the Haas drivers. I mean, 7 and 8, they're just charging together. I mean, they're staying close with each other. They're keeping next to each other as combined almost killed Beamer. But, I mean, they're doing great. I mean, Dougie and Ryan haven't had the getaway they had in the sprint. I mean, these two drivers seem to be struggling a little bit on the hards more than the mediums. So maybe we can see the two Mercedes drivers using the advantage of being right next to each other as an advantage to undercut these two drivers, or maybe even overcut. We'll definitely see what
Yeah,
happens.
like you said, they haven't really gotten away from the pack, and that is the same for everyone on this grid because we have a DRS train from 1st to 19th, with just Helios Refas, who's very far back behind now. And yeah, just keeping it very clean. Fitchstick is now broken off of the DRS train, but he's the caboose now. And it looks, and like you said, the hard tires are not doing as fast as the medium tires, but really the medium tires are only the two Haas's, at least in contention. Because that's Alfa Romeo around. That's Christmas himself. He's gone, actually to the left. He's gone off that way. Maybe he just carried too much speed and spun around the rear and did not like what he was doing. Will that be Beamer and G making a move on Mateo going down the inside into turn 3? Yes, he will, and Mateo just gets forced off a little bit.
Ryan
Yellow
Newton in
flag
the
somewhere,
wall.
and that's for Ryan Newton. He broke his wing. Right front end plate is gone. He will surely have to pit now. He's down into 18th. Not what you want to see from a driver who is so promising. And now, the two Mercedes, Itria and Light, we know them as contenders. We know them as fighters. Will they be able to bring the fight to Dougie Falcons?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dougie Falcons with that strong race pace. Never mind, Stride sets fastest middle sector. So Stride definitely putting up contention here to catch up to Dougie. He's definitely going to want to sit nice and pretty in that DRS. So he's going to have to be pushing really hard here to make sure he keeps in that DRS. And hopefully Lights can also catch up to Stride because he needs DRS to help him defend against Magnus and Cube. So Lights is going to have to pick up the pace. So, yeah.
We had another off. It's Colin Edwards who's gone off. He's coming back now, and he's last as Ryan Newton boxes for presumably the medium tires for the two stop. And unfortunately, his front wing is broken, so even more time, even more insult to injury. As it looks like Marcel Paps and Combined YouTuber are having a great fight. Marcel somehow has gotten into P7. We haven't really gone on board with him at all, but he's just made it through everyone. And Combined YouTuber won't even have the DRS to get past Marcel Paps, so great job from the Ferrari driver. We know that he's fast, and he's going to be maybe in potential for even a podium. I wouldn't count him out yet.
Definitely. I mean, P5 for B-Man G, the Haas team
Eric
principals.
is around. I'm very sorry to interrupt, but I just saw that on the onboard of someone else, and he just went around. It was a very lazy spin, and that's put him down into P17. He's had a great sprint race, started P4, and now he's just... Actually, there's been a lot of unfortunate drivers, I have to say, from the front of the grid all the way to the back. And just terrible fortune. I don't think we've even cursed them once with the broadcasters curse.
Yeah,
And they still haven't
getting
gotten
unlucky,
late.
really. And I mean, a lot of people don't understand, but Austria is actually one of the harder tracks on the calendar. I mean, we might think like tracks like France and Portugal and those tracks might be like they're very technical, but I think the simplicity of Austria overemphasizes the fact that it's a difficult track. It's a lot of like precise acceleration to be fast here, so you constantly have to be at the limit of the car to be quick here. So a lot of these drivers are experiencing that. I mean, you're on the limit, things can happen.
Yeah, and things can happen, definitely, and things did happen to Blue Collar Jesus. Garrett Elder had a moment coming out of turn 3, and he lost many positions down to P12. Bad race for Williams so far. Hopefully they can come back. But so far, it looks like Dougie Falcons has pulled out a great gap to try. And Marino in the Red Bull, for some reason, still is giving up a position to Blue Collar Jesus, who just had been off. So interesting that Marino's in this race. I didn't see any word that he would be racing here, but I guess he is. I wonder if the Mercedes will swap positions. It's a bit dangerous now that Beamer NG is making a move on Magnussen Cube. And he goes around the outside. He's on the medium tire. He has that tire advantage. And Magnussen backs out of another place where he could have easily had a move done. I don't really understand why he's doing this. Sid and Combined YouTuber are fighting, and it's to make a bit of contact, actually. Combined YouTuber had a bit of a moment, and Sid just could not help going into the back from Sid. DRS and ERS wide open. He's going around the outside, braking late. Look at how late Combined YouTuber broke in. Still made the apex. So great job from the Haas driver. Great defense on the medium tires. Just great job overall.
Yeah, definitely made a fantastic job from BMNG. I mean, so proud of him. He's doing so well. I mean, I just want to see good things from him right now. So maybe something he can do interesting.
And we will see here as the DRS train kind of reforms itself. We have many here, as it looks like Sid might even be looking for another move on combined YouTuber. He won't get it here unless he deploys the battery. He does, as Marino gets a time penalty. Magnussen Q gets a time penalty. He's in 5th. He must have gone wide in turn 1, which I have to say, it loses you time instead of gaining time. So he did not leave the track and gain an advantage, as the two Mercedes might be swapping positions here. Gap is going down very quickly. But I have to say, if you, like I said last lap, if you're trying to switch positions, it's really not worth it if you have cars right behind you. Combined YouTuber and Sid fighting once again through turn 3. Combined YouTuber has that DRS, he's got that dog in him as well. Will he go down the inside? We saw that he could brake very late. Does he go around the outside? Yes, he does on the medium tires. Tries to stick it around the outside. He's still there. He's still a thorn in Sid's side. But Sid has come out victor of that battle.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, some of these drivers like Bima are on the medium hard strategy, so they're not really in this fight right now. You might think like, wow, he's in a good position, but he does have the tire advantage right now. He's not going to have the tire advantage in a couple of laps. He is going to have the undercut advantage, but he's not going to have the tire advantage later on in the race where really those medium tires come alive. So Bima definitely opting for the positional strategy, but definitely not playing the long game, as he's going to be having to fight these guys on opposite tires.
Here comes lights on, it's right, his teammate is about to get overtaken, and it's going to be done before turn 3. Very good job of swapping positions, keeping it very safe, almost making contact, but they judged it just perfectly. I wonder if Beamer will try to make a move on Itchrai, who was just overtaken, but he does not. He knows that his tires are kind of dropping off, and I am seeing something very interesting. I'm seeing some drizzle on the screen.
Ooh, I'm seeing drizzle as well.
Now I have to wonder if that's going to lead to anything very special, and maybe that's why people opted for the medium tires here, because obviously if rain comes early, then you're going to want to be on the softer tire, so you just have that advantage. And I have to say, if that is the case, Beamer has played this to absolute perfection.
Yeah, definitely. If the rain could save Beamer's not so fortunate race that he was going to have. Look at that supreme grip. Damn, those mediums are grippy. Just absolutely sending it through the corner. This tire's not even losing a bit of grip. As big positional changes, I think Alvarez in the pits. No, spun around. Not in the pits. Colin Edwards does go in the pits. Let's see if he takes the intermediate tires. And if I take a peek ahead, he is taking the intermediates. Kind of early, if you ask me. There's no real puddles on the track and no real rain on the floor, as BMG seems to be overtaking Itchrai for P3.
It's going to be a bit harder to break now, and he makes a move down the inside of Itchrai. Itchrai has continued that position.
Magnussen.
But what a great move from Mateo down the inside, I believe it was. And yeah, Magnussen's got a time penalty, but we have to go, oh, he has a moment almost. We have to go back to the forecast here, because while you said that maybe it's a bit ooey to go on the intermediate tires, I'm seeing some rain coming down rather than just some drizzle now. But it's only in very specific parts of the track, so maybe not a good time to go on inners now, but look at the rain now. It's on the screen. We're starting to see some spray from the cars behind and in front. So I think we have a great race on our hands here.
Yeah, definitely a great race we do have. I think these drivers definitely going to be thinking about hitting this lap as the rain is coming down a little bit more. The track's listening a little bit more. I think it's time for the intermediates. Colin Edwards doesn't look to be pushing his tires too hard. Definitely coasting a bit. The Alpine driver. Yeah, it's not yet. Excuse me, it's not ready yet for intermediates as Colin Edwards is taking it really slow and his tires are leading. So not yet for intermediates, but these drivers are gonna have to be sitting in their track that.
Yeah, so Alex Duarte definitely thought it was time to go on in intermediate tires, but I just have to say, from what I'm seeing, that's just not even the case. Because no, in the sprint race in Division 3, there was just a tiny bit of rain, but it didn't really result in anything. But this move from Mateo on Itchrai will result in a very great position for Mateo in the Aston Martin. His teammate all the way in last, but he can make up these positions for a great points finish for the Aston Martin team.
Yeah, definitely Itchrai, definitely having the early advantage, but seems to be falling back a little bit near the end here. Maybe not so confident on the mediums now that the rain's falling down, so we're going to see what he's going to be up to against Magnussen Q, who's charging behind the Mercedes driver.
And it looks like Itchrai might even try and look for a move on Mateo. And Magnussen has seen that coming, and he's trying to make a move now on Itchrai. Three-way battle here. It looks like Itchrai might try to overtake Mateo, but does not in the end. And I was going to say before this happened, Magnussen Cube is in a very safe spot right now because oh no, Beamer G is around. If he such a track too, that's going to be a big penalty for the Haas driver. And he just went around. He doesn't look like he has any wing damage, but very, very naughty of the Haas driver to reset the track after spinning around it. Now he's in P7, hasn't lost him too much, but I've been interrupted by race action too many times. As I was saying once before, Marcel Pabst right behind his Ferrari teammate. That's kind of a brick wall of defense right there for Magnussen Cube in 5th position.
Yeah,
so
and another thing here
if
coming.
Magnussen is worrying about his penalty, then he doesn't have to anymore.
Yeah, and another thing right now, Alpine of Colin Edwards' tire seems to be cooling down now. Was mid 80s, now dropping down to low high 70s. Sorry. So I think this track is intermediates now. I think these guys are definitely going to be pitting this lap.
I don't know what's happening with the Ferraris. Oh, never mind. They're switching positions as they should. That brick wall of defense has just become a. Oh wait, Marcel just went wide again.
That switch won't be happening unless they decide to lose more time. Yep, they decide to lose more time. Very uncharacteristic. Oh, as he goes wide again. It's very awkward positional changes, and he spins. What is Ferrari doing?
Well, I'm not really sure what to even call that, honestly. Just kind of, yeah, just a mistake, honestly. Marcel Pabst, at least the mistake he made this race wasn't as critical, but maybe, just maybe, it was a strategical masterclass, as maybe Ferrari can now double stack without having a time disadvantage. I mean, I'd like to believe that's the case, as it looks like Magnussen Cube does not pit. Will Marcel pit? Yes, he does. Honestly, at that point, if you're going to do something silly, just double stack at that point. You know, like, it lost you many positions in Monaco, but, I mean, just go for it at this point. Intermediate tires for everyone who's pitting so far. Lots of people pitting, so I think that is the sign of the crossover point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these drivers were a little bit lights, Stry, Mateo, Magnussen, and Dougie were a bit too late to dive into the pits, but they're definitely going to still have the advantage. I mean, Sid being one of the first people out on the intermediates. Let's see how he looks. He looks very, very shaky out of turn 1, but his tires seem fine. He's on intermediate conditions. We're seeing now.
Yes, and as you saw at the top of the screen, DRS is disabled, so not much overtaking will be happening. But I have to say, if people are not pitting for intermediate tires, I mean, with the rain that we see, is it really worth it? I don't know if it's really gonna change much, as Dougie Falcons from the lead of the race pits. Oh, and Itchrai gun around, and he's lost his front wing. On the penultimate corner, he's lost his front wing, lost many positions, and that is a virtual safety car.
Oh, this actually helps Lights and Dougie, and even Shry. This has helped Shry, because now Sid's going to have to go really slow. So this actually has worked into the favor for the top 3. Shry has actually saved himself positions. Of course, not intentionally, he crashed into the wall, but really the benefit of this virtual safety car has saved him from losing a lot more than he should have.
Yeah, hold your horses, bud. Itchrai just went on to medium tires, so that either really just messed up his race or he's thinking something else. Because Blue Collar Jesus actually went on this tires as well. What is going on in the strategic minds of Mercedes tonight? Hopefully you would know.
Hopefully I know. I mean, the clouds seem to be so a bit bright. Maybe it's a mistake. Not too sure. We'll see how it goes. As Ecologies and Shry are fighting on these slick tires. Seems like they did not set their tires, and they're going to be out of this race.
I mean, either out of this race or they're just trying to stick it and hope that the rain kind of lightens up. I mean, if it does, then I don't even think the advantage that Itchrai will have over everyone else will be that big.
Definitely, I think Itchrai will definitely have to be boxing again if he wants to see himself finish the rest of this race, as the track is starting to create a little bit of puddles. So this is definitely not conditions for these medium tires. I mean, he's at 80 degrees, and he is gonna box. No surprise. Unfortunate to see him crash. As he misses the pit exit, pit entry. unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, this is a fight between Dougie and Lights. Beamer has opted to stay out. His tires are still warm. He's at low 90s.
Well, hey, with that inside information, we might be onto something here. I wonder if Beamer, I don't know if he's just trying to risk it a bit more, but everyone else is on the intermediate tires except him and Celius Redboss, who's right ahead of him actually. So, I mean, it has to be time for him, surely. We
Yeah,
have puddles on the track. It's got that glossy surface, as we all know that F1 games have when there's intermediate conditions. But yeah, that's basically it.
definitely. As Beamer is opting to pit, and he will be coming, he'll be place 9 or 8, I believe, so very unfortunate. He should have boxed earlier, and I think that virtual safety car screwed up his master plan of staying out one more lap, but yeah, unfortunate from the Haas driver. Haas were having such a good race, but seems like they're going to have to take a little bit of the back foot so far.
I mean, at the moment, still not a bad race, because Beamer is still P5. He's going to stay P5, and his teammate is in 10th, so good points haul still from Haas.
Oh, I
Maybe
thought he was
not
going to drop back further. My bad. No, great race for Haas then still.
I mean, the pit lane, it doesn't really change the distance and the time that you lose, but with intermediate conditions, you definitely lose time compared to what it is normally, and that's cost everyone behind him. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Jeez, Marino is in 6th. Yeah, not much more to say. Maybe Sid tries to overtake him, but no, just Marino being Marino, having a terrible race in Division 3, and now look where he is.
I thought he was always a McLaren driver, but I don't know, man. He could be anything at this point. He's having a bit of a weird time. I think that's my internet just bugging out. But yeah.
I've seen it too as well. But yeah, like you said, he could be anything. He's having kind of a identity crisis, especially with his nationality. I mean, he's been French, he's been Irish, he's been Mexican, he's been Hungarian.
Yeah.
Now he's finally Italian. He's been Bostonian. I don't know if that's a word, but it was a flag that was made by Kyle Blevins. But yeah, anyways, he's joined many different teams as Sid. Looks like he had a moment there.
And we also, as me and Nathan, the broadcasters, asked that you spread your hearts and give your hearts to Marino in these trying times where he figures out his nationality and who he is. You know, it's very difficult to figure that out, and we wish the best for Marino to figure it out soon.
Yeah, I guess we're trying to just support diversity in this league. I guess we'll just make a campaign right now.
Yeah. Zero supports diversity and freedom of choice of who you are.
What does this broadcast come to? What is going on with Ryan Newton and Pascal? Actually, they look side by side, and their position changed quite a bit. I wonder if Pascal, with the amount of battery he has, why is he not using it? I mean, even I don't use my battery too much during the race, but this is kind of outrageous.
Yeah, definitely extremely outrageous. What's outrageous right now is that Lice isn't catching Dougie. Dougie seems to be slowly walking away with the lead. Mateo isn't really catching, and Magnussen isn't really catching. So I mean, kind of a boring inter-race so far.
I mean, yeah, it has to be a certain track that you have wet conditions. It has to be one with walls that are pretty close to the track because, well, the obvious, I guess, you could crash in a big safety car and then restart on the intermediate tires, big safety car again. What happens, it's normally fun and normally not like this.
Yeah, I mean, nothing much to add here. Your top 6 seem to be all 2 seconds or more apart from each other as Lights has gained 2/10 on Dougie, so maybe we can see a big change there. Maybe Dougie's making some mistakes, we don't know too much yet. And yeah, that's really all that's happening. There's no DRS, so no drivers will be making any big positional changes. So, I mean, let's just talk about how the race has been so far. I mean, interesting to see some of our not really top 5 drivers making it in to the top 5. Eric McNerney, Beamer, MG, Marino, and even, I think, no, that was just it, yeah. Even Mateo. I mean, Mateo hasn't had the best of luck these past weeks. He's been, I think Mateo is new. Isn't he? Yeah, Mateo's new.
Yeah, I mean, Mateo, what a great driver, honestly. Shout out to his family, I hope they're watching this. But yeah, the famous 12-year-old who's been seen trying to qualify for F1 Esports on 2021 last year, and he's in a great position right now. I mean, normally we don't see too much from him. He's like around 10th normally, but now he's in P3, putting up a very great show for everyone, especially his parents. So something to be proud of for Mateo, and yeah, just a great driver.
Yeah, great drive from Mateo right now. He's holding strong in P3, and hopefully he stays that way. The 12-year-old driver doing an incredible job in D2. I mean, let's hop on with, it was close. We can hop on with Marcel. He's making his way slowly to the back of Xmas, who seems to be struggling a little bit. This is the only overtake we might see this entire rest of the race, as Marcel does the signature slide and almost spins.
I mean, sometimes I wonder if this guy's even sliding or it's just my my connection just being weird. But yeah, I mean, Marcel, I'm not really known for his wet driving, or at least I don't really know too much about it. But I don't know, Christmas right ahead of him, as we call him now. He's been kind of an off and on driver. He's had great moments and he's had pretty bad moments, honestly. But hopefully he can just stay in P8, good points for Alfa Romeo, and P15 for his teammate right now. I believe that is reserve driver, however. But yeah, like I said, Marcel, I mean, I think that he can get this overtake done. But yeah, I don't know, it's just Marcel, anything can happen at this point. We've seen him do many slides and it not cost him, but one of these times it has to cost him.
Nothing interesting is still either happening. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about D1. I mean, what are your expectations for D1 tomorrow?
Hopefully they'll be driving a bit fast, you know, maybe a bit more than the average pedestrian walks, you know, a bit faster than that, hopefully. But yeah, hopefully it's exciting. Intermediate conditions wouldn't be ideal, at least based off this alone. But good fight for the championship. We'll bring up the D1 standings right now here. They aren't updated actually from Division 1's round 8, so that's all right. We'll go back with with this race here. I mean, just kind of one of those moments where you're broadcasting and you kind of think like, wow, there's not really anything interesting to say right here, so we can try and get filled conversation. But anyway, it looks like Sid has actually closed up to the back of Marino once again. He was 1.4 seconds behind the last lap. My gaps are frozen for the top 10.
Let's go quick look at Ryan Newton. He's 2 tenths behind Fistickle.
He's trying. It's Duarte changing positions there.
Yeah, the AlphaTauri drivers seem to be struggling a lot this season.
Yeah, they've been quick drivers. They've been in championship contention, as in Alex Duarte before. And you know, Alex had a great season last season. I mean, not really what he expected, but still a good, solid season for being kind of not really picked high. In my opinion, I think he should have been picked higher, but it's all right. It's in the past now. And so far, not a great race for him. Not a really a great race for anyone. Honestly, not really a race for spectators. It's not really a great race for anyone except our top 3, who are now spread out by 2.7 seconds respectively from one another. And yeah, I mean, what I've been realizing kind of with Lights and Dougie Falcons, the way they drive is that Lights kind of sets it up for the fast entry, right?
Yeah.
But Dougie Falcon sets it up for the fast exit. So that's when we see the gap go down, is in the entry to the corners with Lights. And that's why we get so excited as Alvarez gets retired from the session in the pits, as he should. But yeah, like I was saying, Lights kind of sets it up for the entry. That's when the gap goes down the most, and Dougie Falcons just takes it away with the exit.
I mean, that's kind of like Austria, right? You really want to set up good exits here. Lights isn't a driver who definitely attacks the circuit much more than even a lot of D1 drivers. I mean, his driving style, I would say, is very reminiscent of old-time Alonso, where he really adds in a lot of steering and understeer. He really wants that understeer mid-corner to carry him through the corner.
I mean, yeah, good driving style to choose, definitely. So it looks like that car is still on track of Sierra Alvarez. It looks like it's coming to a stop now. But yeah, Dougie Falcons can kind of just walk away with this. We have probably about 15 minutes more of this. I don't really look forward to the rest of it, but hey, it is what it is. Hopefully we'll have like a safety car or something to spice it up just a little bit, but if not, then that's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, what else can we talk about here? I mean, who do you think your most improved driver so far in D2 is?
Hmm. I think Magnussen Cube, at least because I know him the most here. It's because, kind of at the start of the season, I was kind of like, who is this guy? I mean, I haven't really seen him do too many great things. But once he started sharing information with his team, as the lights gets the 3-second time penalty, that might be huge for Mateo. Yeah, man, he'll have to stay within 3 seconds, and he'll have P2 right in the bag. But anyways, as I was saying, Magnussen Cube, I thought he was kind of just another D2 driver, but now he's been sharing much information with his team, and he's very, very, he's a good thinker. He sets up a lot of setups for our team, and he's just a very good team player here. So I think Magnussen Cube gets my vote. What about you?
I think Colin Edwards and Beamer. I think these guys have been something that you really think about seeing. I think some people had Colin in their mind as being up there, but I think Colin is an example of someone who was refined before and has found a way to look at himself, see where his issues were, and improve upon it even more. I mean, he came out the gate swinging in Brazil with a top 5, even with all those mistakes. And I mean, he's just been improving and improving. I mean, he is someone who can be fighting for contention with this championship. It's just that he's been really unlucky these past couple of races.
I have no idea what's happening between Sid and Marino here. It looks like Sid is trying to make an overtake on Marino, but Marino's lagging all over the place, so it's kind of hard for Sid to judge where the Red Bull is.
Yeah, Marino is on a 4 gigahertz hotspot. I think we should ban drivers from driving on mobile hotspots. It's dangerous, especially for the drivers around. Sid literally had to sit behind Marino for so long time, as Marino just seems to be teleporting all around the place. So very unsafe, very dangerous, and I don't think this should be allowed next time.
Boring. Anyways, Sid made the overtake through the penultimate corner on Marino, so not really much of a danger now, as it looks like a Sid Alpine of Colin Edwards around. Yes, it is. Does he have a front wing, I wonder? Yes, he does. Is there a missing end plate? Yes, there is. Not really what you want to see from the most improved driver of the season.
Definitely very unfortunate.
So everyone's kind of spread out right now. The closest gap we have on track is the one between Pascal and Fitz Dickwell. Fitz filling in for the AlphaTauri driver, I believe. I actually have no idea who that was as Fitz spins around, so I know I just had to bring the spotlight on him to show you that great moment as Williams is around. And he's retired from the session. That's Garrett Elder out of the session. He's so close to the track, and that's a full safety car. Full safety car in Austria.
That is interesting. This actually hurts lights more than helps him. Because with that 3-second time, as everyone's diving into the pits, I think Shry should stay out here. Actually, no, he doesn't have any chance to gain any positions here, so... Lights, this is a terrible thing to happen to Lights. I mean, he probably wish for just a smoother race, to be honest. Closing up the grid isn't going to help him. He does have that 3-second time penalty, and there's people behind him who don't have time penalties. So he's going to have to be dealing with that.
They're going on to the wet tires, everyone who's pit.
Oh yeah, the rain has picked up.
Okay, I have to point something out here. This is Beamer NG's race right here. Anand Trivedi, we know him as the GOAT here. I wonder if this is maybe showing for his first win here. Everyone him has to pit, and there's people making overtakes. Magnussen and Mateo, what is going on with those two? Don't care. Anyways, as I was saying, Beamer NG, he's in a very fit position because if it is wet conditions, then everyone ahead of him does have to pit, so he needs to kind of get a move on. But it looks like he's been hampered by the Delta effect here. So, Dougie Falcons and Lights pit. Looks like Mateo and Magnussen will do the same. Beamer, you need to go, man. Can he get it done? I don't think he can.
No. It's way too far. Delta's holding him back. It's going to be the same positions, but it's going to be with the wet tires now.
I've heard from an outside source that Beamer is throwing his controller. But anyways, what a race we've had. What a change of events, honestly. You know, I was fully leaned back in my chair, just kind of dozing off and talking about people in the back. Then all of a sudden, we saw Garrett Elder spin and hit the wall. So this could shape a great race.
A great race and an interesting race. I mean, the fact that Magnus and Cube got ahead of Mateo, this is a big change for him. I mean, the fact that Lights can have someone who's going to keep that guy who does not have a perfect time penalty away from him, and hopefully Lights can maybe run away with it. Controller and wet tires do not go well together, so maybe Lights can have a bit of an advantage here. He does not have the pace on Dougie on the dries, on the intermediate, so maybe he has the pace on the wets.
Yeah, so 8 laps to go in this race. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake, so have your flashbacks now and get them out of the way. So, the field will bunch up, but we have a lot of back markers here. Some people are like beyond a minute behind, Celius Repos in particular. And I think that maybe they'll get stuck in the safety car queue a lap down. So,
Oh my God,
hopefully that's not the
how long
case,
is
but
this race gonna take? Oh my God, we have a safety car, we have full wet conditions, we have a car lap down, we have literally 50 seconds separating the whole entire grid. This is absolute chaos if you ask me.
I mean, I have no idea what's going on anymore. I'm just hoping that all these drivers don't do anything stupid, so I don't have to pay attention that much anymore. But anyways, we've seen many good wet restarts in Division 2 so far. Hopefully we can have another one. But yeah, this is gonna take a while, so grab your drinks now, crack open a cold one if you have one on standby.
Start eating something because it's gonna take quite a while just to sort out. So go use the washroom, go wash your hands. I know some of you don't wash your hands, you filthy drivers. But yeah, I mean,
Damn.
that's... yeah, well, I mean, nothing else is really happening here. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing is expected to happen. Mateo sadly was on for his top 3, but what is happening
What's
here?
going on with Marcel and Marino?
Weird stuff happening back there.
Why is Marcel going off? Oh, he's trying to let Marino by now. He's had an illegal overtake. The safety car shenanigans from your one favorite driver and Marino. So, let's see, the safety car, oh, it looks like Celius Repos is actually in the pack itself. So, that's probably the worst position he can be in an F1 game. Nah.
I just want to mention one more thing. These drivers are going to be, not only are they going to be on wet tires, they're going to be on cold wet tires. There's nothing they can do to warm these tires enough to get some sort of grip, so they're going to be struggling massively on this restart. So it'll be interesting to see who's patient and who's too greedy.
I'm not really sure what Celius Repos is doing right now. I'm pretty sure this is illegal, but he's overtaken 3 cars now, committing multiple warp crimes in the process. He's having moments now. That's kind of what you get, man. I don't think it's ever been allowed for lap cars to overtake the safety car.
It has never
and
been
if it
allowed.
does, that just makes it the safety car process longer.
So what he's doing right now is he's basically doing what's called forcing the game to like push people back, which is not cool. Very not cool. Definitely gonna get a penalty for that from somebody. Seems to be letting all the cars back. I don't know what's happening, dude.
I was just breaking up the pack.
Yeah. Very this is not safety car actions to be doing. As Lights and Buggies still be struggling with temperatures behind the safety car. Nothing much they can do as Mateo's disconnected.
He disconnected. I hope he'll get back though before the safety car. Yeah, he does. But yeah, like you said.
Oh, and Beamer's trying to make an illegal overtake? Beamer, no. Don't try it.
No, I told Beamer not to commit any war crimes for this race, but he's doing it anyway. Yeah, slap on the wrist for him.
His car. It doesn't seem like he's in yet. That's very... Beamer, cut it out. Come on, Mateo.
What does this broadcast come to? Anyways, safety car is in this lap. Dougie Falcons is waiting for the safety car to go into the pits. You said that the wet tires would need a warm-up. I think you're wrong. Because, you know, the wet tires, they only need 50 degrees Celsius if I remember correctly.
They need 60.
And
They need 60 to operate finally. And these
I
guys
think
at low
they have that.
52s. At low 52s. And
Oh
Dougie
well.
might be off soon. Be favorable for him to get off soon as he is setting up for the next corner. As Lights does something really stupid and takes the inside of the corner. Very weird. As Mateo joins back, and Mateo gets around Magnus and Cube. Awesome. See this from Dima's perspective. Mateo getting nice and close. As Marcel goes really slow, but Dima making his way to P4.
I mean, Mateo kind of just forced Magnussen off the track and just made it happen. That's why Magnussen lost his position to Beamer.
Who was
And pretty clean safety car restart otherwise. Bit of contact into turn 3 with the McLaren and the Ferrari. It looks like Beamer NG is not going to be making any overtakes anymore. We have racing action with Marino and ghosted man of Celios Red Bus. Kind of weird that he would, you know, get in the pack. As look at H try and go for a dive bomb, go off the track. And what has happened with this Haas car? I don't know if you just saw that, but that Haas car got lifted up almost, you know, Hakuna Matata, and he broke his wing. So, whatever happened there, definitely not a good game. So,
yeah, this is very unfortunate for Lights. I mean, there's two drivers behind him now who both don't have time penalties. As H-Try himself gets a time penalty. This is very unfortunate. I mean, he's going to be losing 2 positions on top of not being on the podium. This is something that Lights is definitely worst nightmare, to be honest, as Mateo is still in that 3-second gap, and I don't think Lights' driving style is going to do him any favors, as in the wet you really want to focus on good exits versus attacking the entry. So I just don't think Lights' driving style will help him here, and I think Lights is definitely going to lose these positions, unfortunately.
2 Ferrari swapping positions, and somehow, out of all of this, all the action that's happened, they found themselves in 5
They screwed it up again!
once again.
Ferrari has screwed up the switch again, and he's given himself a 30-second penalty. Dude, what is Ferrari doing? They screwed up 3 times. Oh my god.
He's gonna spin in this exit of the corner, I just know it.
At this point, it should be on character. Dude, what is Marcel doing?
This has to be like out of a script or something. I don't even know if we can blame Ferrari at this point. It's just drivers making an idea and then not really executing it very well. And while they haven't lost much time to the cars behind, they've certainly left themselves out of contention to P4. And I guess if that's how you want to run it, make it entertaining for us. Go right ahead. We have some action between 3 cars, combined YouTuber, Fitzstickwell, and Pascal. Looks like they cleared it all up now, but I wonder, I mean, if they're making overtakes to turn 6 in the wet, I mean, they have to be making overtakes into these weird turns, right?
Yeah.
So Lights is actually kind of gaining on Dougie Falcons, but what I'm more concerned about is Mateo. This young man right here. I want something to happen to Dougie Falcons so we can see the greatest win for Aston Martin of all time.
Yeah, maybe we can see Dougie get a 3-second time penalty. That'll definitely make it very interesting. It'll be a battle for face between Beam and James, who's not really doing that well on the wet tires, and Mateo. So if Mateo pulls on strong here, he can definitely be looking at a good position. I mean, look at Mateo's throttle application. You can hear it just from the sound of his engine. Very smooth, very linear. He's being very careful and very smart. I mean, he's playing this extremely smart. I mean, a lot of these drivers are going to be attacking the throttle, attacking these corners, and getting these little half spins, which actually ruins their time. Not helping them because they're pushing the limit and then having to slow down. And Mateo's just doing a great job of just keeping at the limit. A lot of drivers, it's very hard to just play one tune, you know? They always want to like get going on the song, but Mateo's just playing his smooth symphony and he's just doing it right. I mean, he's getting closer and closer to Lights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if Lights will be going for an overtake. There's not really a point. Is that Colin Edwards and Eric McNerney maybe coming together? No, just their Alpine of Celios Red Bus. Oh well. So anyways, going back to the fight for the lead, as I was saying, I don't think Lights will really have much to do here. I mean, he can either just play safe and hope that something happens to Mateo, or he could go for the overtake, which I gotta say doesn't make sense. And
actually,
so Mateo,
I think it does make sense. I mean, Lights is in a position here to lose a podium spot, which doesn't help his championship. So he's definitely going to be pushing as hard as possible to gain as much time against Vima, who seems to be sitting pretty in as a. I think that's another Alpine in the wall. I don't know who that is.
Stelios as usual.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's try it. And actually, Marino, Colin Edwards are having a big fight through in turn 6 here. Marino is kind of on the high gears, which doesn't really give him a good exit for anything. And Eric McNerney gets overtaken by Pascal. I'm not really sure what's going on with Eric McNerney right now. Does he have a front wing? No, he does not. What has happened to the McLaren driver? So it looks like the Alpine just kind of doing its thing, honestly, in the background.
Yeah,
But like, sorry.
as he's trying to drift.
Maybe he's doing a Ken Block tribute or something.
Probably.
He's not really doing a good job.
But he's spiking the throttle. He's trying to get it sideways.
Anyways, here comes Sid on Marcel Paps going down the inside of turn 4. Gets that move done very straightforward, but Marcel Paps wants to go around the outside, holds it around the outside, then make contact. Sid and Marcel are into the gravel. Ryan Newton sail through, and it looks like even Christmas will get interested on Sid and makes it way past. Ryan Newton has seen the gap that was right there for him, and just like Moses and the Red Sea, there's a lot of water here today. He's parted it, and he's gone through.
Yeah, but Teo seems to be losing a bit of time to Lights now. And Lights seems to be losing a little bit of time to Dougie, so it just seems to be, after these top 3 guys are just similar pace. Nothing more to say there.
Well, then, final lap. The only thing that will give Mateo this win is if Dougie either messes up, gets a penalty, Lights messes up, and just has a penalty. And yeah, we want to see Mateo win, to be honest here.
Yeah, we do. So hopefully Dougie screws himself over and Mateo can make his way through this with penalties.
Yeah, I mean, we
Obviously, I would love
just have
Lights to win as well, but there's no world in which he wins right now, sadly. But I mean, shout out to Bima. I mean, what a race he's going on. He was in contention for a podium, but he's dropped past the 3-second mark, which has made him sit pretty in P4. So he's not going to be making any positional changes. Dougie stayed strong this whole race, has been led almost all the laps. I think he's led all the laps. I think this is a slam dunk from Red Bull. So very strong for Dougie.
what?
A slam, what was it called again? I don't know.
A grand slam.
Grand slam. That's what it's called.
Anyways, he's going through the penultimate corner now. Our leader, Dougie Falcons, our slam dunker of the night,
Oh my
going
God.
through the final corner now, onto the final straight to win the Austrian Grand Prix in the Red Bull ring, in the Red Bull car. A win for Dougie Falcons sees him go into the championship lead once again. Well, just keep it in general. Mateo O, the 12-year-old, has made it into P2. What a legend of a man right there.
Yeah, big congrats to Mateo. What a race. Yeah, and I mean, let's give it 1 second here as we move over to the interviews. But let's just talk about the driver finishes so far. We have Dougie P1, Mateo P2, Lights P3, DMMG P4, Magnuson Q P5. Let's round out your top 5. Then we have Ryan Newton, Sid, Colin, Shry. The rest of your top 10. We have Alex Duarte, Marcel, combined YouTuber, Pascal, Fitzdickel, Marino, Eric McNinney, and Steelers Trappist, and Blue Collar Jesus and Alvarez have not finished the race. And that wraps up your race. I mean, let's see, we can move on to interviews now, so give us just a minute, guys. We'll be here just soon. So, let's bring in our P1 finisher, Dougie Falcons, for the face interview. Hey, Dougie, what's going on?
How are you? Good.
Yeah, man,
You
what's
go.
up? I mean, great race. I mean, almost a slam dunk, quote unquote, grand slam from you. You missed the fastest lap, sadly, but I mean, what a race. I mean, you've led most of the laps, and I think all of the laps. I mean, what do you have to say about the race?
Pretty straightforward. Qualifying was surprising. I didn't expect to get pole. Given the lack of like practice Red Bull's had this week, I think it was a pretty surprising result overall. And yeah, the race is comfortable. Sprint was comfortable. It was unfortunate. Actually, I was more comfortable in the race after um, Barney spun, I believe, and yeah, I started to relax a little bit more because I was kind of worried about how his pace would be.
Uh,
So yeah, I think it was overall a pretty clean race. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean, uh, no worries really for you for the rest of the race after the sprint. I mean, you kind of sat really well in a position that you kept away from Lights and Mateo, and from almost all drivers. I mean, you weren't really under threat under any circumstance, and you just seemed to be in your own little bubble. And I mean, that's a great job. I mean, it takes a lot to do that. And just a big congrats from me. I mean, Nathan, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, almost slam dunking it. As you said, you've gained 43 points in this championship just by this race alone. So, I believe in the standings that puts you just way clear. I mean, as you were before, of course, but I mean, will we? It's kind of a dumb question to ask at this point. Will we see any more results just like this? I hope so.
For the others, I think for the others, they hope not. I guess, but
Especially me.
uh, yeah, exactly. So I think I don't
You can
know.
relax. You can slow down. There's no worry about the championship. You take the week off, Dougie. You need time for you. Okay, that's what I say.
Yeah, yeah. I do need some me time to be fair. This game is a stress, especially leading at the front sometimes. But yeah, no, I mean, the next couple of races are going to be tough. I think Imola, I think it's Imola, Canada, and Saudi Arabia, I believe. So yeah, those aren't my stronger tracks. I might admit. So yeah, hopefully this is enough to see us to the end. And yeah, hopefully we have. So yeah,
Yeah, again, just big congrats. Great race, and yeah, we'll see you next week for Imola.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, let's bring Mateo. Nathan.
Welcome to the booth, Mateo.
Oh my thing's lagging. Oh no.
That's alright. Anyways, congratulations, Mateo, for the P2. Great race from you. I mean, what do you have to say about it?
Uh, can you? I can't hear Mateo. One second. Oh no.
Good job. P2 in the finish, it was pretty straightforward from the safety car. I mean,
Yeah,
before the safety car, I think that you had P2 off of penalties alone, but I mean, the safety car definitely sealed it. You happy with this result?
I can say I'm really happy with all the like I think a couple races ago in France I had a spin when I could have won the race, so a lot of lagging or issues with the computer with my computer, sorry. Yeah, so I think today that really made me feel good and confident going forward. So,
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
definitely confident you should be. I mean, this is a great outing. You've kept up to some of the fastest guys in D2, who aren't really only the fastest in D2, but even the fastest in some of the fastest guys in like top 10 of D1. So, I mean, this is a great showing from you. Me and Nathan would love to see more of what you can do with these next couple of races. So, hopefully, you can bring it strong for next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping what's the race next week?
Imola,
Imola.
Uh, Imola, yeah. That I love Imola. So I'm hoping I can do something again like this. Yeah.
awesome.
Thank thanks guys.
I'll be definitely looking forward to it, man. You take care.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, that was Mateo. And now let's get on to Lights, your P3 finisher, who I cannot drag in here, so it looks like
Where
he's
he at?
not doing the interview. Okay, so that was D2 that was D2 that was D2
That was
Austria.
D2.
Yeah, that was D2. That was D2. Yeah, yeah. I think that wraps it up really right there. I mean, kind of a slow race near the end. A bit jarring, a little bit boring near the end, but still a great race nonetheless. Glad to see that Mateo's improving, and also sad to see that the championship fight has kind of lengthened itself to a point where it's going to need a lot for Lights to come back and make something interesting for the last race, but we'll see what happens nonetheless. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and have a